So today we will move into the next topic, which is main point and must be true after argument structure. And today's session will be accompanied by a quiz. The analysis of the quiz will be taken in the office hours next week. All right. So what do we do in main point and must be true questions? Please remember that main point and must be true questions are basically looking at identifying the conclusion. What you choose as an answer option, over here reflects the conclusion, right? So when you are answering these questions, remember that you are focusing on the conclusion. The answer option reflects the conclusion again in whichever way that may be. A category of questions that comes here is except questions. Those are either opposite to the conclusion or irrelevant to the conclusion. So when you are choosing the opposite of the conclusion, then again, first you have to understand what the conclusion is. So except answer will be one, which is going against the conclusion in most cases or will be irrelevant to the conclusion. So these questions will ask you for either main point, conclusion, inference, must be true, what supports the statements above support which conclusion, right? Or all of these with the word except. So it is imperative that in this category of questions, you constantly look at the conclusion or you constantly look at the option that gives you the conclusion. A good strategy for inference would be to A, of course, bear in mind what the conclusion of the author is, and B, go to elimination approach. Now, when we come to evidence family questions, I will be talking to you and focusing on what is known as pre-thinking. But this strategy is something that I usually ask my students to avoid in main point and must be true or inference questions. Rather, have an idea of the conclusion in your mind, but go with the approach of elimination. Whatever is bang opposite to the conclusion, eliminate. Later on the next slide, I will show you whatever is just repeating a fact, eliminate, and then work with the remaining options. So a good strategy to undertake over here in these question types is elimination of options. It helps you to collate your thoughts better. At least you know what you don't have to worry about. You don't have to worry about options that are just going against the author's conclusion. You don't have to worry about options that are just repeating a fact or a premise. And then you work with whatever remains. Pre-thinking is something that we deploy in evidence family questions. Once we reach those questions in our office hours classes, I will spend time on pre-thinking, right? Remember, your answers, the ones that you will not eliminate, they require the minimum truth that can be gauged and that which reflects the conclusion. So a direct conclusion question, yes, conclusion. But sometimes an inference and a must be true answer sort of reflects the author's conclusion or the main point, can be an inferred conclusion from the facts given, Now, when we are working with inferred conclusions, that inference usually has to be, the minimum truth that can be gauged. All right. Therefore, usually these questions, because inference dwells upon what has to be at least true if the facts above are true. Therefore, inference answers usually do not contain words like all, no, none, only, most, majority. You will again notice we will go into these words when we are doing evidence family questions. These answers, the content in these answers is modified by words like some, might, may, at least, not all. So, very big quality of the answer in this category of questions is that most of the time you will notice we will be using these words and avoiding the words above. Right? So, an answer type where let's say you think A is the answer and the answer is none, or the answer contains something like only. If I were you and I would try to mark A as an answer and I decide the word only, I'll ask myself, am I picking the best answer? Is the word only justified from the passage? Or I will look at only and I will try to avoid this answer if I'm not able to find something in the passage that says only. And then I will probably go to another option and start looking at other options again. So because an inference answer cannot exceed the scope of the passage, and because inferences have to be within the superset of the passage, they don't have keywords like all, none, only, most, majority in their answers. They usually, our answers in this category, most of the times, unless stated in the passage, will use these words, mark. But only in this category of questions, we will use point number 2 words in evidence family questions. Right? There, we have to strengthen and weaken. So strengthen, weaken, we will be using this category. But in inference answers, we will restrict ourselves to such words. Unless, of course, the passage is using the word only, which again will be in a minority of cases. And as I said, we are going to use or stick with the elimination approach in this category of questions. Therefore, in this category of questions, if I am eliminating, I'll start with eliminating opposites. I will start with eliminating something that contradicts the author, and you will find one such option. And then I will come back. Then I'll start eliminating something which is only giving me a fact in the passage, only repeating a premise or a fact, right? And I will try to work with the remaining options. Is this what the author is trying to tell me? Right? Is this what the author is leading me to? So I go back again to the passage, read it, and then choose one between the two options. This is the final stage of final answer selection, and this is where some of you may take some more time to get more accuracy. This is where you may fall into traps of other options, or you may fall into such traps. So these traps you must try and avoid. Or before marking an answer, if you are choosing an all or a no answer, go back again, ask yourself, is this word justified? This will prevent you from falling into traps of these answers. You will be prepared because you are listening to me here, and it is, this word is shining in front of your eyes, and you're asking yourself, I have to be extra cautious if I'm using this word in a main point or a must be to or an inference answer. And remember the other traps. So I'm telling you what you cannot do. The other traps, choosing a commentary, you have to read the argument and say what the author is telling you. You have to give the author's conclusion in the argument. You don't have to give your commentary in the argument. Our commentary will be a remark on the author's argument, or some kind of advice we are giving. Boys should not play football because the author has described a scenario where over the years boys are getting hurt by playing football. So that means the author is just trying to draw our attention to injuries in football. The author has not asked us for our advice, or the author has not asked us for our course of action. People should be careful. Has the author said this? So do not give a solution or a course of action. If the author's argument is only highlighting a problem, stick to the problem as the conclusion. If the author has not given any solution, any option providing solution, it's not going to be an answer. We have not asked you for solution. If the question says, what would you do as the solution to this? Then you give solution, which is also a logical solution based on the points made by the author. But any course of action that looks like a very logical thing to you. If this is the problem, then we should avoid playing football. But that's not something the author has stated. So the next step, the course of action, is not your answer. And many of us are tempted to mark should answers. So that means commentary and course of action usually you will find will contain the word should. Most times, a should answer is never an answer in this category. Again, unless the author gives advice or one points towards an advice. So it is very easy to fall in the last few traps that I have stated. So these are the traps that are created by the options. Using of extreme quantifiers or modifiers, just repeating a line from the argument which may not necessarily be the conclusion presented by the author, and after every argument where usually the author states a problem, highlights a condition, the options that take you towards course of actions or commentaries or advice, which seems pretty logical reading the problem that has been given, but you can't give solutions or courses of action if the author has not done anything towards that. So your conclusion will be problem restatement. Problem restatement will be your conclusion. Your conclusion cannot be something of this nature. And finally, illegal negation. This is the biggest of all traps. Illegal negation says that if the author says, I cannot attend the party because I have a headache, right? What have I said? I cannot attend the party because I have a headache. So let me write it here. And I have two options, A and B. I cannot attend the party because I have a headache is the argument. Option A says if my headache stops, I will go to the party. And option B says one reason for not going to the party is headache. Can you tell me which will be the answer? Do you see what is happening? So here it is pretty evident. B is the correct answer. So I have created an A, a situation where I have inversed the statement. And what I cannot do has been given by the author. I have changed it to what I can do or what I will do. So option A is doing an illegal negation or inversing by assuming that it is only the headache which is stopping me. Headache is one reason I have given. But does that mean there are no other reasons? Tell me, does that mean there are no other reasons, children? There could be more. I haven't stated them, does not mean they are not there. So if my argument is a cannot argument, it remains a cannot argument. I will not create a situation where I will change it to a can argument. This is where you will stop yourself from falling into the biggest traps, right? Again, nobody has asked you what will happen if the situation is reversed. You can't predict it. There is no way for you to predict it. What will happen if the headache goes? I don't know what will happen. Maybe I still don't want to go. Maybe I'm too tired. Maybe I don't like the people at the party. Right? And later on, when you become big lawyers, you will have social evenings. There are hundreds of evenings you will want to avoid. What is the best reason that you give? Tell me quickly. What is the best reason that you give? You can't say my car broke down. You can always hire a cab. So it is always the good old head which gets an ache, isn't it? Fever is very extreme. Now, why would you be so extreme in life? You know, you can't just be so extreme. Okay, someone criticized me on Facebook, so kill them all. Off with their heads. You can't be that, can you? Ebola, yes, Ebola is a great reason. COVID is the best reason. Nobody wants you around. So, the good old headache, right? And you will have very insistent guests who will say, I will send you great headache medicine. Tiger balm, does wonders. So you get the tiger balm and you say, yeah, it's better. But now I cannot come because. So you think of another body part which is going to ache and which the tiger balm can't cure. Yes, Zandu balm is another good option. So anyway, so if my head stops aching, you say that in a polite manner, but you really don't mean that, do you? You tell your host, once it's better, I will drop in. But do you mean it? Boss, headache means you're not dropping in. So look at it in front of you. I cannot attend the party because I have a headache. One option will be, if I don't have the headache, I will attend the party. Not sure. It's not the only thing. Remember, one reason for not attending the party is headache. Maybe I've just given one reason. There could be other reasons, isn't it? So this is a possibility. And possibility cannot become a surety. And to explain it better, I have just given you a whole new meaning. So must be true is not may be true. And the final thing of which illegal negation is a part is must be true, may not be. Must be true is not, may be true. For example, people who fall down the stairs always break their left leg is given to you as statement 1. Mary is a person and she fell down the stairs. What will be the conclusion? Mary broke her left leg. Would you agree, everyone? Is the conclusion correct? Now, can you say that Mary did not break her right leg? Left leg is the minimum that Mary has to break. She could have broken her right leg. She could have broken her arm. But because we are sure her left leg was broken does not mean her right leg was not broken. Does not mean her arm was not broken. Similarly, I'm not going to the party because I have a headache does not mean, let's say in half an hour my headache is cured because of Zandu balm. Will I land up at the party? Now, if I say that yes, I will land up at the party, what I'm doing is I'm misunderstanding the argument and I'm reading. I am not going to the party because of a headache, which is a sufficient reason as the only reason. Is that the only reason? No, it's not the only reason. It may be the only reason. But what have I written here? Maybe is not must be. So if the author describes one possibility, it does not mean it is the only possibility. Maybe it's the only possibility, but maybe does not mean must be. Will you all write that in the chat box? Maybe does not mean must be. I have written it here, children. May be true does not mean must be true. So maybe her left leg is all that was broken, but we are not sure about other leg or arms or whatever else. Left leg we have been able to be sure of because of the two statements, but for other limbs we don't have any information. Similarly, I know one reason I'm not going to the party is a headache, but the author did not say that it's the only reason. Nowhere is it written. That means one sure reason for not going to the party is headache is all I know. So I cannot claim that if this reason goes away, I will land up at the party because there may be other reasons. There may not be other reasons. Any maybe option is not a must be option. And the question specifically asks you must be. Right? That is why, Shaurya, we are not assuming anything. That is why all that we are saying is what is written and what can be deduced as a subset of what is written. Right? So I'm not saying she did not break her right leg. I'm not saying she broke her right leg. The only thing I can draw is her left leg is broken because of the rules given in statement 1 and statement 2. By combining 1 and 2, we are sure that if Mary is a person and if she is fallen down the stairs, her left leg is broken. So it always has to be 100% true. That's correct. Right? So we are not assuming anything ourselves. Right? Always is minimum. It does not mean it's going to, it is the only thing. Always is all. It does not mean only. Always only ensures कि इतने पे इतना result आएगा. Always does not say it's only. So what statement 1 and 2 are saying is always, whether written or not. Have you got it? So from always we come to left leg was broken. Yes, may go to the party अगर लिखा है, then it is correct. May go to the party अगर option में लिखा है, then it is correct. So may be true does not equal to must be true. So are all the traps clear to you, everyone? So will you? So that's all there is to main point, guys. It just tells us we have to be disciplined in what we are reading. We are not going to do extra reading. What is not written, we are not going to think it is written. Because we do that a lot. You know, we belong to the era, you know, we belong to a very romantic country where there was a time when, you know, a smile or a look meant a lot of things. Hasi to hasi. That's what Bollywood has always told us, isn't it? अरे ये तो smile कर रही है, so she wants to be my girlfriend. बस मतलब seriously, I was not even smiling at you. I was smiling at the good-looking dog. So we read too much into actions. We read too much into faces. You know. So naturally, our tendency to read extra, which all of you are currently doing in your mocks, Yes, now time for confessions. Reading extra, reading too much, over reading. How many of you are doing that? So we are going to call you the Hasi to Phasi problem guys. Reading extra guys, applies to both genders, male and female and everyone. So women are doing that for men, men are doing that for women. So my classes are gender neutral. Great. So you are doing that, right? So we are not going to do that. Main point will become the easiest thing you do if you follow what I have told you today. Isn't it? This will be your easiest thing because you are disciplined. You are not going to read what is not written. And you are not going to inverse it to your liking. And you are going to avoid using options that are giving advice or solution when it is not given by the author. So today onwards, we start disciplining our reading and we will not get inference answers wrong. Because what is not written is not written. What can be deduced from the written has to be within the written. It can't exceed the written. So you are going to practice that. You are going to redo all the options of your old mocks. And you're going to tell yourself, this was not something that I could have inferred. This I thought I was reading, but it's not written. Right? So please go through this video again. It will be on Zoom. It will be on YouTube, on our channel, under the playlist of office hours. All right. All those who need, all CP students have access to test zone. Other students, please write to us if you need access to test zone. And we are going to do this quiz with you all. Please go over this video again and 3 times if required, just to drill it in your head what you cannot do. Remember, if you know what you don't have to mark as an answer, you will get to the right answer. Going to the right answer is not your problem. Getting distracted with wrong answers is your problem. Hence, the whole PPT today is focused on wrong answers. That is all from my side tonight, children. Thank you so much. All those who need access to my zone, please write to us at help@possibleeducation.com. help@possibleeducation.com. All right. RC section tests are uploaded on your my zone. Ritik, please practice RC from the section test and the practice mocks on my zone. Thank you so much. Have a great evening ahead, children. And what is the moral of the story for today? हंसी तो बिल्कुल नहीं फंसी. All right.